Greetings. This is episode 3 of the Adventures in Life of Creek Boy Ronnie Holmes. It's been a lot of fun thinking about life, and as I'm entering into this phase here of high school, high school was full of life. You know, everybody, all my friends, all the people at school, everybody was full of life. There was an energy. All right, now I can't possibly recreate the time, but I would like you to have somewhat of an understanding, simply because uh, I went to high school from 1968 to 1972, and there was a metamorphosis. There was a change in our society, in our culture, and I can't explain it. Why it happened, because there was a radical change in that period, and there was an energy to it. Okay, I mean, I I don't know that you would have at the time really said that, but there was an energy. There was the musical inspiration, right? Because and that's what I've really been thinking about. I'm going to talk about that for a little bit, because when you talk about my high school years from, well, let's go junior high from 66 to 72. Man, the influence of music and the difference in it, it moved the people around me. You know, when when you went to a party and they started playing music, there was an energy there that you don't see now. I mean, you really you just don't see it. I can remember when the real dance music started. The rock, the dance music, and we'll just take it back. Yeah, in the late 50s, of course, Elvis. Elvis was a driving force, but the Beatles really came on the scene in my youth, and everything changed. Everything changed. Our whole culture. I mean, in the snap of a finger. I mean, we went from Leave It to Beaver to this this wide open. uh, I mean, literally just wide open. Things were just wide open, and as young kids, we were phew, we were affected by music. I feel now, since this is my life story, and I try to understand within myself, where did music enter into my life, because music is a part of everybody's life. Biblically speaking, God says that music moves people, that's its intention. It lifts you up. And so in my youth, there was not a lot of technology at all, and so to just get around music was sort of not every day. Now we've got a phone. We could get any song from anybody, anywhere, ever made, from the little box that you stick in your pocket. I still don't understand it. I don't believe it, but that's the way it is. But back when I was a kid, man, it wasn't like that. I know now. Of course, around my house, we had one of those great big long, look like a almost like a coffin. I mean, these things were long. The stereos, and you lifted up the lid, and it had a turntable in there, and all. And well, when I was a kid, I heard very very little contemporary music whatsoever. You know, I was my mom. All right, remember, we got to get back to my mom. My mom didn't play any current tunes kind of stuff. She played military music. She did. She played German marching music and stuff when I was a kid. I remember she did have one record that was different and it stuck out. It was the Yellow Rose of Texas. So I can remember that. But as far as being bombarded continually with music, the AM radio. But as a kid, it just wasn't that big of a part of my life. Um, but eventually, the the bands got bigger. Like I said, with the Beatles, I can remember my aunts and uncles came over to the house to watch the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and I can't remember the timing. I think the kids, I was real young. We had to go to bed by 8 o'clock, and Ed Sullivan came on like 8:30. I think it was something like that. But I remember there was like an archway that hooked up to the living room. It had a curtain across it, and behind that archway was where we slept. And us kids, we all poked our heads out around that curtain to see the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and I mean it was a big deal. Like I said, my uncles came over, aunts and uncles, and they all hung out to watch Ed Sullivan. So this energy began then with the Beatles, and they that was the dawn of the introduction of the drug culture, you know. The musicians and everybody suddenly everybody's hippies, and which hippies the hippie movement is fine. I consider myself an old hippie. Be honest with you, because the attitude that the people had, I felt it was I thought it was good. Um, there was sort of different levels, I guess, and a lot of the people were natural, and the poetry and the music and the communes and all that stuff. It wasn't harmful in any wise to people. The hippies were never harmful. Yeah, they smoked a lot of pot, and later on, you know, the Timothy Leary days, the tune out and drop whatever and get high and drop out of college, pretty much is what he proposed, and people actually did that. But so the Beatles came along, and they started getting into drugs and things, and their music started getting really different, and but there was an energy there. There's a curiosity of people about, well, what are these guys doing now? Oh, and then of course the Rolling Stones. Oh my goodness gracious, I can't believe those dudes are still out selling out auditoriums. I mean, come on. They they let them out of the group home or something, because they're old. I cannot believe the way those guys live, that they're still alive. I mean, they burn the candle at both ends, and they're unfazed. It tickles me, but yeah, but there was so much energy in the music. I was thinking, the the different bands, Santana and the Doors, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. Oh my goodness, Led Zeppelin! What amazing music that was at the time, you know, and the more these bands came out, the more energy there was. I can remember being at oh, that's right. Yeah, I thought of that today. I was thinking about how how we reacted to the music and all that, and I remember the old Iron Butterfly, Inagata Davida, right? Inagata Davida, baby. But we we were at some party, at the community center in Follansbee, West Virginia, scenic Follansbee, and and that song came on at this party, and oh my goodness, you couldn't help but move. I mean, dun dun, and before it was over, the whole place, everybody just soaked with sweat from grooving to Inagata Vita. And I'm telling you, of course now, when I was a teenager, um, most everybody was extremely fit. It just it was that time. We didn't get driven around. If we went somewhere, we had to walk. We had to ride our bicycles and stuff. We were tough. The men were tough. The boys were tough. The women were tough, and the girls were tough. And I'm telling you, in the place that I lived, it was heavily Italian. There's a lot of Italians. I don't know of any place, honestly, maybe New York or something, there might be a greater percentage of Italians, but I grew up with a lot of Italians. And those Italian women were those girls, they were so athletic and so beautiful. And that music would break out and it hit them, and it was just a sight to behold. And they were any like with the bands that played, they'd have a couple of these long tall girls doing expressive dancing on the the side of the bands, and for a while there they had go cages, with the girls with the white knee high boots and stuff, go girls, yeah. But but the music moved people. It just moved it, and the girls, they just loved it, and I know some of them now, 70 years old, and they're the same way, they bust loose if if given an opportunity, but it was amazing. But and that music, he could pick you up, he could put you down. I think of like the mellow Dan Fogelberg, the I really liked the Spirit. There was a group called Spirit, and then the 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus. We were all into all these musics, and it was just amazing, the talent and the way it affected. And I feel so sorry for for this present generation. This is April the 21st, 2024, and there's this phenomenon called Swifties. And I'm sorry, I don't see how that skinny little girl has gotten over on so many people that she's so rich. I think they said she's like a billionaire. And brother, I couldn't tell you one song. I couldn't tell you one song from Taylor Swift. Oh, but I can sing a whole bunch of Led Zeppelin songs. Neil Young. Oh my, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. The protest music too. The Vietnam War. I'm in high school. Okay, and the Vietnam War uh, was a big deal. I mean, people getting drafted. The draft went on till 1973, and it ended up that I I had a draft number and all that stuff, but they ended the draft at the time that my group was supposed to go. But I was way up there, so I didn't have any worries. I mean, and it was getting towards post Vietnam. Uh, but the protest music and the protest movement, there were so many talented people, and they used their talents to try to have an impact. that's why today's music ain't got the same soul. You know, I just cannot communicate um, the same way with the music today. I don't get it. You know, but the good thing is. The oldies are still the goodies, and it's all available, so I can just listen to the same old stuff over and over if I want to, and and enjoy it, you know. But but there it was a different level of energy when I was in high school. You know, now today, and I'm talking to my grandkids. You know, there weren't any cell phones. You know, we didn't have cell phones. There was nothing to entertain us but us. You know, there was an old black and white TV that had three channels, and with as many brothers and sisters as I had, all they wanted to do was argue over which one was which. You know, which one would watch what. You know, it was sort of ridiculous, and and then the radio. You know, you could turn on we had transistor radios, little old radios. You know, battery operated radios, and they'd be able to get two or three AM radio stations. Now, of course, I lived just north of Wheeling, and the Jamboree, we could pick up the Jamboree. So we did in Wheeling. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the Big Country Jamboree, and they had some great country artists there, classic place, you know, and so I was exposed to the old timey country music, you know, the crying in your beer kind, you know, the fighting in the parking lot kind. It's totally different than today. Totally different than today. But it was good, you know, and and then weave throughout the whole thing. Uh, it was still West Virginia, you know, and there was still the mountain music, even though it was the far northern part of West Virginia. There was still that a blend mixed in with the music. But there was a lot of energy, and people had energy, and if you wanted to go from point A to point B, um, you had to figure out how to get there, because um, we didn't have cars. Very few, if ever, in the teenage years, my friends had a car. They got it from their parents, you know, for the night or whatever, and it was the same with me. You know, I didn't have a car till I got out of high school, and nobody did. There was a few, there was a few people that had cars. Um, I remember Ben Maley. He always had nice cars. He was what you would term a motorhead. He had nice cars. Oh, and Noah Nixon. Noah had a blue Mustang. You know, there were a few cars, but Ted Walden had one of those Novas all jacked up. That was wild. But yeah, we had to walk. You know, we walked for miles. We just if we wanted to go somewhere to go swimming, you know, it wasn't like we said, "Hey, mom, take me over to the swimming hole." You know, that just didn't happen. If we wanted to go out to the creek, um, we had to walk. You know, or hitchhike. And hitchhiking was through my high school years, through the whole time. It was a valid means of transportation, and for long distances, it was the only means of transportation. You know, as a kid, we had bicycles. We bicycled all over, but honestly, the bicycle is just about worthless in West Virginia, because uh, you got nothing but mountains and curves and narrow and dangerous. You know, it's just it's not the bicycling haven. I think they've got some trails now. You know, touristy places, but that wasn't really reasonable around us. But so so what do you do with this energy? All this energy, the society is churning because of Vietnam. Um, there's there's a racial animosity going on. Yeah, but see, all these things are in the background in my life. You know, I'm in West Virginia. It's a great place, and it was a great time because there was more communication. You know, now the news covered the Vietnam War. You know, Walter Cronkite and all that kind of stuff, and and also they covered the music things. You know, you would see all sorts of different bands on TV. You know, Ed Sullivan Show and it just there are all sorts of opportunities. So so the TV started becoming a little more prominent, and you could actually get information from it and be attached because when you live in a coal camp in West Virginia, you're not overly attached. You, what can you say? You know, uh, I lived like in Louise. There might have been, I don't know, 25 houses in this little cluster, and you had to walk. You know, what was it, like a mile and a half or something like that, straight down the tracks, uh, to get to the road by the high school where you could start hitchhiking because there wasn't any traffic. So we would walk down the tracks, and uh, you know, many times we would end up just walking for miles. You know, it was just part of life, and and, and you know the physical aspect, and I can't stress that enough because I'm really concerned. Um, but yeah, back in our day, they did a general call up. You know, they started drafting people, and the kids that they drafted were physically healthy. And man, we don't have that now. But all in all, everybody was healthy. Like I said, you know, the girls, they were beautiful, they were lean, they were muscular, just like the guys. You know, it was uh, it's something that I think is lacking in in our kids today. You know, now not all of them. You know, my sons uh, work hard on the babies. You know, bringing their boys up to be men. But yeah, I wish I could see that level of energy and physical activity because we were at it all the time. We played, you know, as teenagers. We played football, baseball, basketball, whatever. We hiked and we camped and hunting was yeah. I got my first gun at 12. It was an over under 22 and 410 single shot. Went down to Sears and Roebuck and picked it out. But it was an integral part of my upbringing, you know, because we would get off of school and I just get the shotgun and a few shells and go walk up over the hill and meet you know, Gary Wilson. Oh, Gary, he loved to hunt rabbits because that's what we hunted. We hunted rabbits, and then we just walked all over the hills. There was um, no sense of boundaries, you know, because in West Virginia you go up over the mountain, you go up over the hill, you know, and I never thought that there was somebody that owned it, you know. And come to find out years later that a lot of the land that we hunted and just hiked around on and stuff, it was owned by a coal company, the old coal company, because remember Louise was a coal camp. It was a place that was built uh, for miners, for the local miners there. And uh, so I don't know. I'm trying to get a setting here because you know with us young boys, our energy was just boundless, and we got it out, and unfortunately, I don't know if I've said this, but because my mind is so uh, cluttered up with so many thoughts trying to recall. Uh, but man, we were vandals, my little clique of friends. We were pretty bad vandals. We would just tear stuff up just to tear it up. I sort of embarrassed by it, but I I didn't really have those inclinations as much as some of my friends. Old Mitch Wade, old Mitch, he loved to tear stuff up, and I don't know what happened to him. I got to figure that out here soon, but uh, we always were in motion, always in motion. And I see these poor pathetic kids nowadays where they just sit around all the time. And that they're glued to the phone. And when we went out, we were out. There was no tracking us down. We could have said we were doing this, that, or the other, but when it got down to it, we could be anywhere, and nobody would be any the wiser unless you got spotted. And that happened on occasion. Um, okay, so high school. The big transition came from ninth grade to 10th. Moved from Wellsburg High School the freshman year to Rook High School, consolidated four different schools into one, and get settled in there. And then life was just busy. It was busy. We had the my friends. We every day we were doing something every day. It made no difference. Later on it may have been a party, but we got together and played football. We did things every day, and then eventually we ended up actually getting driver's licenses. And oh, that expanded the world right there. Wow. Yeah, that expanded the world, and introduced, I guess, some different things and temptations and whatever. But around 15, yeah. So the sophomore year at Brook and junior year, um, things are just on the move. Um, School, I like school. I always found most everything easy except typing, and I still that's why I'm talking now instead of typing things. Um, but but school, it wasn't like it was a problem, and some of us put effort into it and some of us didn't. I just I was a pretty intelligent person. Um, I feel that I sort of am now. Maybe maybe as a kid, I don't really know, but I always caught on to most anything pretty quick. But the school, it was sort of like an incidental thing. Go to school and we walk around, and we there in that time period we got to interject the boyfriend girlfriend situations that eventually erupted. I say erupted, but yeah, you started seeing girls penetrating our circle, you know, and the our friendship suddenly cross paths with females, and that was extraordinary, you know. And life soon became complicated. No, not really, not really. I I enjoyed the company and you know the little boy and girl game. It was fun, but uh, let's see where. Well, look at what is my time here? Oh, that's half an hour. I'm gonna stop at half an hour. Yep. All right. So we're just doing general high school things now, and I think maybe I'll start interjecting some of the friends and their families and things because they were an integral part of life. So, till next time, episode 3 is concluded.